Okay, so we all know the story that we've seen in Infinity War that Thanos snapped his finger and half of the world uh, universe dusted and disappeared. But is that really the story? All right, so there's many theories out of multiple universes and time travel to get them back and how they're going to get them back together and everything. Well, here's my theory, and it's more hopeful and it's more bleak. And as far as I can tell, it's different from everybody else's. All right, so here's my opinion. Everybody dusted. Everybody survived. And let me explain what I'm talking about here. Okay, so Thanos' whole goal is to wipe out half of the population of the entire universe. Okay? And to get that, he had to get all the stones. Okay, now, the last stone that he had to get was the Mind Stone that was inside of Vision's head. Now, I think that was done on purpose. All right, the Mind Stone is one of the more important stones. It's the thinker. It's the supercomputer. It's the stone that it kind of binds the others together. It's the only intelligent one of the bunch. It has its own mind. Okay, and we know that by what it did to Vision, and we've seen things that it can do in some of the other movies that it has ways of controlling the mind. Okay, and also, in my opinion, and in some others, it controls the other Infinity Stones. Okay, so here's the basis of that. All right, so like I said, I believe everyone died. And so how would that be possible when we only saw half of them dusted? So this is what happened in my opinion. Thanos is hell-bent on destroying half of it. But as we know, and as we've seen, that the Mind Stone is not an evil stone. When it was inside of Vision's head, he was able to wield Thor's hammer. He was worthy. All right. And so he was pure at heart. And so we know that the Mind Stone is pure at heart. Okay? And the Mind Stone would not want to see half of all humanity or alien life or all life be destroyed. Okay? But it's going to be wielded by a powerful being. And think of it kind of like this, like think of it when like a genie and you make a wish. The genie grants your wish, but doesn't grant it in the way that you think is granting it. So here's what happened. When Thanos snapped his finger, and as we've seen in Infinity War, when he snapped it, you will see a green flash and a slight yellow a flash above it. All right, the green flash is the time stone. Now the time stone, I believe, stopped time. Okay, it stopped time, and the Mind Stone connected Thanos' mind to Gamora's inside of the Soul World, inside of the Soul Stone. I believe this was a distraction. Okay, because this was the plan of the Mind Stone. It wanted to get Thanos to be distracted so he couldn't see what was going on in the real world. As this is going on, the Mind Stone commanded the Reality Stone, the Red Stone, to divide the perceived reality of the OG Avengers, the original Avengers, and the other MCU heroes, and also the other half of each side of humanity / rest of the universe. Okay, we know that's possible by the scene in Infinity War where Thanos made them believe that they saw that Thanos died and that that the planet of nowhere was destroyed, when really it wasn't. It has the ability to, and we all know this, to change a reality to where you can see anything you want, and it can change the realities of multiple people. I believe he cut, or the stone cut everyone's reality into two precede reality. Now, Thanos doesn't know this is going on because he's preoccupied inside of the soul world at the moment. Okay? And also, as this is going on, there's also the world, the regular reality is also split further down the line into two multiverses. Okay? Basically the multiverse, the one we live in, and let's call it multiverse 1, and into a multiverse 2. But we'll get back to that. Alright, so Thanos pops back, none the wise of what happened. Alright? He was totally confused. You've seen it when he went inside the soul world. He looked down, he looked for wounds, he was confused. He didn't mean to be there. He was taken there for some reason. Some consciousness took him there for a reason. And that reason was distraction. So, now, he takes, and every stone is going to be used in this whole scene. He flashes away after he was stabbed in the heart by Thor, and of course he should have went for the head. But he flashed away. All right, the blue stone took him away. Now I think the blue stone took him away, and probably took his time and took him to a place that he didn't see any of the dusting. So now he's still none the wise of what's going on, because this is the will. This is the will of the Mind Stone. All right, the Mind Stone is not doing the will of Thanos. It's only making Thanos believe his will is being done. Okay, so now they're being dusted, and that's by the Power Stone. Now we know the Power Stone. If we watch Guardians of the Galaxy 2, when they were fighting Ego, that the Power Stone can dust, life. And if you watch the scene, hopefully I can show a picture or whatever in this. When they dust, you'll see these little glowing dots just flying all around. All right, those are souls. The souls of the people that were dusted in that scene. Okay, so we know what it looks like when people are dusted, and we know what caused the dust, and we know what souls look like after the dusting. So get a visual picture of that. So now, all right, from that point on, okay, those souls are spiraling or whatever. The Mind Stone once again grabs up these and sends them through the soul world. Okay, and we know that that the soul world can harbor souls. Okay, and now the soul world from there sends them through the quantum world. And how do we know that can happen? And how do we know that did happen? We know it did happen because at the end of Ant-Man and Wasp, when the Ant-Man was stuck, was inside getting healing particles, and God knows how many different particles are inside of the quantum world, he was collecting them, and the dusting happened while he was inside there. Okay? Now remember, as soon as the dusting happened, all right, he started seeing all these floating dots. I mean, hundreds, thousands, probably millions that we can't see. All right, they were the same type of dots, and they look kind of like an electrical type sperm. All right, they looked exactly like the ones from the Guardians of the Galaxy when the Power Stone dusted all of the people. Okay, identical, and this happened during the dusting. So dusting during that, They looked a certain way, dusting like that. And we know that there's going to be travel through these. They say time travel, but I feel it's going to be multi-world travel. All right, we know that's coming. That's been talked about and everything else. I believe that the soul world was just a, a, a pass through to get to the next side, which is the two different multiverses. So everybody that was on the that saw the one side of humanity dusted is and of course the other side saw the other side dusted. All right. So those each side are dropping down, passing through all of this, and they're going to drop down both into a multiverse. Okay? Now here is going to be the kicker. All right? The kicker is that, guess what? I do not believe at the end of this movie that anything is going to change. They will discover each other. They will defeat or run off Thanos or trap or do something of that nature. But I do not believe in any way, shape, or form that the two worlds will come back together and anything will change. Now, for several reasons, I'm going to give you why. Now, I'm going to give you why first. The why inside of the MCU universe. The reason why on the MCU side of the universe is they now, since they were fooled, Thanos was fooled because he has no idea this happened. All right, the people have no idea this happened. Just when everybody was dusted and all the Avengers seen them dust, they believed they were dead. And vice versa, I believe that the other side, of course, was dusted too. So they are now going to be rebuilding. It's Avengers 4 is going to start 5 years after the dusting. Okay, so that means they're going to go through a long period of time of rebuilding the world, maybe fighting new villains, maybe doing everything, getting people back together, getting society back. Okay. And it's going to be happening on the other side also, all right? There are going to be, by that time, relationships and what have you, right? Okay, so, so say one of the sides, say the Avengers side, they do travel through, and I do believe it'll have to be through the quantum world in order to get to the other side. Do you really think they want to go back? That they've, in their opinion, they have never left. They've spent 5 long years of rebuilding, and they're going to say, "Oh no, we're just going to merge it all back together the way it was." In their mind, it is the way it was. It's just the others died. So the only ones that are going to want to go back in some way, shape, or form are the characters that find out on the other side that most likely they have loved ones. Say Rocket Raccoon, for instance. He has nothing to live for. Really, truly, unless he buddies up in the next 5 years with Thor or whoever. But his son Groot and his family, the Guardians of the Galaxy, is on the other side. He's gonna want to go over there, and who knows with what happened with Pepper, and who knows what happened with Hawkeye's family. They may want to switch back and forth. We don't know that part yet. All right, that's hard to say. But everything I've talked about here is supported by what happened in the movie. All right? The reason why it's split like this is so Thanos doesn't want to try to change it back. Because if everything would have went down the way it was, and they did take him out, that Thanos, or that the Mind Stone split it and let Thanos know, he would do whatever it took to just go and try to wipe out that other side. Because his whole plan would be messed up. So the thinking side of the Mind Stone was trying to save half the universe by doing this. Okay, so that's my theory. Is everybody died, everybody was dusted, and everybody survived. Because remember, the Russo brothers even said that all the deaths all the people who died and stayed that way. Well, that's in the mind of the other side. All right? They don't know no better. So, yes, they did die. So they wouldn't be lying to us by saying all this. All right? Now, one more prediction that I'm going to put with this, and there's going to be a part 2, and they're going to be minor. They're going to be minor predictions because of everything I just talked about here. So I'm going to make a part 2 to this. But the last thing I want to leave you with is, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't talk about the Disney side of this. My bad. Why Disney would want to keep it this way. All right? Think about it this way. All right? The world is getting smaller and the superpower world is getting larger. All right? Think of the movie, let's see. Think of the movie Civil War. They had to actually send Hulk across the galaxy, and Thor had to be somewhere long far away in order for that movie to happen. Because the two most powerful ones would have really made that battle, one-sided. It'd have been crazy. So they had to write them out of the story. That's a big problem for Marvel. All right, when something goes wrong, you got more and more and more and more and more heroes. I mean, every time there's a cat in a tree, you're gonna have Spider-Man's, freaking Iron Man, and everybody and their brother are coming to save this cat. So there's too many. They need to split it up. And don't forget that they have purchased the Fox, all their properties, and there are a ton of X-Men. There are as many X-Men as there are regular MCU characters. All right, so you just double the amount. They need the territory. They need the space in order to tell these stories that these other heroes aren't going to be making any. They're not going to be getting involved, or they're not going to be having to. They're going to have to get creative about writing some of these other heroes out of the story because they won't be there. They'll be somewhere else. It also gives Disney the chance to have two major storylines going on at the same time. Say whatever, Galactus coming down to munch on Earth, Annihilus or whoever coming in, and they could happen at the same time. All they'd have to do is at the beginning of these movies is just say MCU Universe 1, Multiverse 1, or Multiverse 2, all right? And they'll do it creative where it's not too confusing. This sounds confusing, but the more you give it thought, it's not that confusing. And it really opens the world up for a lot of great combinations. And then you have characters that can go between dimensions that could help out. Avengers need help. They can pull help from the other side by Ant-Man or whoever, or Doctor Strange. And, that there can be combinations even between those two. But it really gives them the chance to write these storylines without too much of issues between other superheroes. And now, what I was getting at, the final thing. Everybody keeps asking, how are the X-Men going to be written into all of this? Okay? Here's my theory on that. And it has to deal with this right here. Okay, so you know that I said that everybody was dusted. Everybody, okay? When they traveled through, after the dusting, they traveled through the quantum world, okay? Remember in Ant-Man, when Janet was, when she came out, she said that the quantum world changes you, okay? Now, whether it changes you in 10 minutes, changes you an hour or 2 hours, 30 years, whatever, it's never really been stated how long it takes. But we do know there's different types of particles, healing particles, PEM particles, whatever particles, okay? Think of millions upon billions upon trillions of different beings, their souls, traveling through the quantum zone. Now, they could easily be coming in contact with all these different particles, okay, that could change them, just like it did with Pym's wife, with Janet Pym. Okay, so think about it this way: as they come through, they could be changed. They come to Multiverse 1, they come to Multiverse 2. Maybe it doesn't change them right away. Maybe it takes a little while. Think about it this way: think of a mid-credit scene or something like that at the end of the movie. And it says Multiverse 1, and you have a scruffy looking guy walking down the street, and he reaches up and he scratches his hand like this, and boom, bone claws come popping out. You know, Wolverine, and then we get maybe a rebooted version of Wolverine or whatever. Or say, for instance, and maybe I'll hold that one for another time. I have another theory of who is going to be an X-Men. I'll tell it in the next one. But think of this one. Maybe they do a second mid-credit scene, kind of like they did 2 in Ant-Man and in Wakanda, where Black Panther is residing over on the other side, because I believe he survived. And there's been theory that his wife, or girlfriend, I can't remember, maybe Storm. And what if they're hanging, they're talking, having a picnic, something, whatever, and her head hurts, she goes like this, and above her, clouds break out, and thunder and lightning, and strikes down right all around her. And guess what? She could be Storm. And even in the comic books, he was married to Storm. And all this could just marry the X-Men so seamlessly. And there would be hardly they wouldn't have to discuss it. Because we already know, it could just be reminded by whoever, by Pym or whoever, that, hey, they were changed somehow when they made it through the quantum zone. So I hope that I hope this gets you thinking, and I hope I'm right. Because if I'm right, I don't know if it makes everybody else mad that they're not all going to be back together. But think of the exciting stories that they could tell, that if they had the real estate now, and they didn't have to work so hard about writing these other heroes out of story, they can write fantastic stories. And, major life-shaking stories that had nothing to do with each other, and plus new X-Men stories that X-Men can work alongside the X-Men. I'm sorry, the Avengers and the other MCU characters and the combinations. It would be flat out wonderful. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed my theory. I hope it gets you thinking. And like I said, there are some that were similar, had pieces of it, but I believe this is the only one that completely tells the story of what's going on and why Thanos is now sitting there gloating that he has taken out half the universe, and you have a little yellow stone knowing that no, you don't, and I totally fooled you. And and maybe one more bonus on this, I'm sorry, but if they do somehow get Vision up and running again, and of course he was the master of, well, I say the stone was master of him, or they were a symbiotic relationship, they had a connection. And if they bring him back, he might be able to tell this story I'm telling to the rest of them on that side, on the OG Avengers side, and that maybe be the thing that kicks the whole storyline going, because Tony and the rest of them in their mind think they're all dead. But if they can get this great word from Vision that no, it's not, because I still have a connection and they're somewhere else, then next thing you know, they're working to solve this problem. So I hope this got you thinking, and as always, I'll see you on the flip side.